Hello and welcome to this pattern recognition video. 10 puzzles today featuring discovered attack. And for the new people watching, if you don't know what pattern recognition is in chess, basically you want to solve a set of puzzles, whether it's 5, 10, or 100 or more. And you solve them once nice and slow. And instead of forgetting the puzzles, you solve them up to 7 times, trying to solve them faster each time. And hopefully after you've done that a series of times, up to 7 times, the patterns and the tactics will be more recognizable because hopefully you've put them into your long-term memory and you'll be able to use them in your own games. All right, let's get started here. These are going to be a little more difficult. I had some people request tougher puzzles, so I bumped the rating up to 2,000 to 2,500. Now, you'll know that these are discovered attacks involved, so hopefully that'll help you. And if you're lower rated than that, you can still try these to see how you do and maybe give you an idea of what tougher tactics and puzzles you'll need to solve, as you improve. All right, what do we do first? Well, we want to look and see what our opponent just did. They had a rook here and moved it forward. I believe, maybe this pawn was attacking it. So they pressed forward. And what did that accomplish? I guess it helped defend this pawn, maybe, which is under attack by 2 knights and the rook-queen battery. So 4 attackers. We have 1, 2, 3, now 4 defenders. So I know that's a lot of arrows to look at, so let me get that off the board. So how do you begin? You look at what your opponent just did, see if there's a threat or something you have to deal with immediately. We can count up the material, so 5 pawns for us, 6 for our opponent. Is that correct? 7 pawns for our opponent. So we're down 2 pawns, but we have an extra bishop. So actually we're ahead by the equivalent of a pawn. So ahead a little bit, so we can trade down if we need to, but we're looking for a discovered attack. Now, discovered attack, obviously you move one piece. Well, for those that don't know, if there are any beginners watching, a discovered attack is when you move one piece like this bishop out of the way, and the piece behind it discovers an attack on another piece. So once we move that bishop, the rook will be attacking the queen. But where do we move this bishop? Well, maybe we can move it somewhere and attack a more valuable piece than our bishop. So, maybe we go back here, something like that. We're attacking the queen, it has to move away, and then we can pick up this rook for our bishop and gain a little bit, more material. But we have to also ask ourselves, what can our opponent do? So before you make a move, and also at any point, before you make a move, when your opponent makes a move, you always want to ask, are there any checks, captures, or threats that you need to be aware of? So constantly look out for those. Checks first as they're most forcing, because if you're in check, you have to deal with that right away. So if we move our bishop here, can the queen check us? It could just capture the rook, but then we go up in material, grabbing that queen. So maybe the queen, if we go here, the queen could move here, threaten to capture this pawn, and then check our king, and we'd have to deal with that. But I think we would be okay. And also, if we attack their rook, once they move their queen here, I guess if they did that, we could take the rook and we'd be attacking their queen again. But they could go the other way with check, and then maybe try and go after this rook. So if we're looking for discovered attacks, also, I don't know, this isn't really a discovered attack, but if there was some way we could take this rook and go after a back rank mate up here. But right now this knight is guarding that. But I'm just going to go for the obvious move. I think I'm going to go here, discovering an attack on the queen, and then try and pick this rook off. And then I could maybe go after the knight as well. Let's see what happens. Okay, the queen just retreats back, so now we can just pick off this rook with our bishop. So maybe that's best. All right, so that's what they wanted. And then the puzzle's not over yet, I believe. So how do we continue? Well, we do have what? 4 attackers on this pawn, and they only have 3 defenders. And they are attacking our rook. So, what can we do here? Maybe we can take, if they take our rook here, we could take that with check. Something like that. If we take here, what? They would just take us with their queen. So maybe we go there. We have this check and then an attack on that. No. Oh, we're in check ourselves. Sorry about that. I was so focused. So this is that brings up a great point. You have to be careful that you're not so focused on what you're doing that you miss what your opponent is doing. And there I missed that I was in check. So I have to deal with that. Remember, when your king is in check, what are the 3 options? Capture the attacker, which we can't do, block, or run. So I could run or I could block. I don't want to block here, or the knight could just pick me off. So could block with the queen. Then I attack. If they take, well, then I can just go ahead and take, and my rook is okay. So I guess I'll do that. All right, now my rook is safe, and we still have 3 attackers, and they only have, what, 2 defenders of that pawn. Okay, that was rated 2288, and I hope you had success in that puzzle. So on to puzzle number 2. What do we have here? Puzzle number 2, they just captured, I think that was a bishop there that they captured. So, what are they threatening? To take another pawn, I guess? What is the material count? We have 7, 8 pawns. Our opponent has 7, so we're up by a pawn, but we are down a bishop. All right, so we need to do something now. If we look at checks first, as they are most forcing, what checks do we have? Well, right away, and pause the video at any time if you want to think before I give up any clues or answers. Could go here and deliver a check, because this is a weak point right here. It's only protected by the king. So if my queen goes here and checks, the 3 options, capture, block, or run. So the queen can't be captured if it moves to h5. That leaves blocking or running. If the king runs, he can no longer castle. And if he runs, he can only go forward. to here, and then my queen could move here, checking, and wow, the king would have to go here. And do I have a follow-up to actually get a mate? Well, if he did go there, I mean, well, let's look at that. If I go here and he moves forward and I go here, he can only go to that square. And what do I do then? If he's here, I mean, I could check him, but you want to make sure you have a good follow-up. You don't want to check just because you can. What am I missing? So, check. He runs forward. We go here. He runs forward again. If we check, he's going to go here. And then, I mean, I guess we could fork the queen and go after the rook. So if we go here and he blocks, we could just take, because if he takes, well then we grab that rook. So I'm going to go with this move. So make sure I'm not missing anything. We go there. Okay, so this is an issue, but we have this powerful move here with a discovered attack, which, you know, that's the theme of this video. So that's probably what we need to do. If we go there with the pawn, he can take our queen. We can take his rook and promote. So that's probably the best way to go. All right, so that's what they wanted. But I do want to take a quick look at what would have happened if he came forward, or, you know, what would be best. So if we go there, and instead of that move, what if the king goes to e7? Well, apparently it's a mate in 3. So what did I miss? Now, I got this first part right, so hopefully you saw it better than I did. King to d6 is the only move. And now, knight to c4, check. I did not look at that move at all. Okay. Oh, because the bishop gets involved. So, check. The king can't go anywhere and is forced to take. And then, wow, the bishop checks. So that's a pretty good pattern. All right, well, let's go on to what? Puzzle number 3. Okay. What did we have here? A capture. What is this move accomplishing? It's attacking this pawn. Anything else? All right, let's look at the material real quick. We have, what, 5 pawns, rook and queen. They have 4 pawns, rook and queen. Oh, we have a knight as well, but they have an extra bishop. So, what discovered attack do we have? All right. And we do have a rook here that's under attack. So what do we do about that? I mean, do we take? They take. Something like that. And we want to look at checks. So, when you're trying to solve a position, a puzzle, problem, what move did they just make? Okay, the queen, what, captured there. What is that move accomplishing? I guess it's attacking a pawn. You know, you could take a look at what else they're doing. Well, they're threatening to take your rook for free there. We counted up the material. We're down what, a bishop for a extra pawn. So we have to deal with that. Now, checks first. What checks do we have? Well, our queen could go here with check. So that's a possibility. Then what? The king could try and go here. Do we have any kind of follow-up? Well, I don't know. If we go there and the king goes here, we probably have to take, and then they take. Our knight could go here. Something like that. Or is there some way we could push that? Trapping the king on the back rank. All right, let's take a look at this again. Check. The king does not want to go there, or we would have a mate in one backed up by our knight. So after check, the king would have to, remember, when a king is being checked, capture, he can't capture. Block or run. I was just looking at this move also. If our queen ends up here, there's this possibility of going there with an attack, but then our queen could just capture the knight there. So, check. King has to run. He can't capture. He could block, but we would just take that knight. So he runs. Now what do we do? Oh, we can't. He could block because this rook is protecting the knight. So maybe that doesn't work. So maybe we need to take this first. He goes there. Then we check. The king, well, now the king could run here as well. All right. And we might as well look at captures and threats. So one threat could be going here, something like that. That's a possibility. Wow. I don't know. This is pretty forcing if we take that rook. So do we start with that? Take the rook. He takes back with the pawn. Do we can't go here or the knight would capture us. So take, check. Now what? King runs, or he could go here as well. All right, to keep this moving along, I'm going to try that. No, they do not want that. Okay, do we check? No, they don't want our check. Okay, now it's getting tricky. What, am I just missing something here? Wow. I mean, this attacks the queen. Okay. What am I missing? I'm having trouble with this one. So what do we do? Do we open things up? No. Okay. This is getting crazy. I'm totally overlooking something here. Okay, what about this check? Wow, okay. Now we have to figure out why that even works. And I mentioned this in past videos. You should look at every check. That's a move that people would probably not even look at because you just gave up the rook. But what is the reason for that? Okay, so now we can deliver the check. The king would have to go here. We could check. And the king would probably go that way. Oh, wow. Then our rook can come over. Okay, that's probably what they want. And if he goes back this way, well, then we have some crazy discovered attack opportunities. So, where is best to move that knight with the discovered attack? We could go here, forking the king and rook. So that's probably a good way to go. All right. Now, do we have something crazy like sacrificing the queen? If we go here, the king could try to run, but then we have the other rook. If the king, or if this rook takes, well, then we can go here and we have the rook again. Wow. Okay, that's pretty crazy. What if we try that? Oh, man. Yeah, this is insane. All right, I hope you enjoyed that pattern. That one was pretty entertaining. Oh, and it was rated 2132. Okay, on to puzzle number 4. Pawn steps forward, attacking the bishop. What can we do here? Let's see. Material. We have, what, 6 pawns. Opponent has the same number. We have 3 minor pieces. Our opponent only has 1. But they have a queen and we do not. We have a rook. So let me tally this up. Pawns are even. We have knight for knight. Rook for rook. But we have 11 points, rook and 2 bishops versus the queen. So it looks like we're ahead. How do we set up a discovered attack here? Well, if we look at checks first, if we go there, check. The king, can go here. And then we have a discovered attack, but our bishop could be captured. But, look at the checks. Check. Then what? What if the king just goes there? We could just try and trade material down by going here. If they take, if our knight takes, oh wait, then we could go here, setting up another discovered attack maybe. All right, so check. If the king goes here, we can set up another discovered attack. Oh, but then they could take our rook. If they did that, well, we could go here and grab their queen. All right. But what if we go here and they just attack our rook? Oh, then we go here and grab their queen. So check. We set up another discovered attack. And now we grab their queen. All right. So I hope you did well on that one. On to puzzle number 5. Pawn is just pushed forward. It's threatening our bishop. What do we do? Well, count up the material. We have 4, 5 pawns versus 5. We have 2 minor pieces, but they have an extra knight. And they have an extra queen. So we are down in material. We need to do something in a hurry here. Okay, what advantages do we have? What checks, captures, and threats are there? Well, we have this bishop lined up, other bishop lined up, and I think that's the way to win there. If we look at checks first, the only check we have other than this bishop, which could just be captured, is this better check with the rook backed up by our bishop. So the king would be forced to move. Then we could capture this pawn with check. The king moves back, and we have our discovered attack. So check, king runs, check, king goes back here. Then we have the discovered attack. King goes back to where it was over, well, to g1. And then we move our rook up to h1 and mate. So I know that was a lot if any beginners are watching this, but pause the video if you need to. Try to calculate it in your head. You want to try and do as much as you can in your head before you... Oh, wait a minute. Here's one thing I may have missed. The pawn being able to block. So we have to double check that. So if we go here, check, king moves, we check, they go back. Oh, we have a double discovered check, so that'll help us win. All right, so check, check, back with a double discovered attack. Remember, when a king is being checked, normally he can capture, block, or run. Those are the 3 options. If he can't do any of those, it's a mate. But if it's a double check, you can't capture or block 2 pieces that are checking at the same time. So the only thing that can be done is to run, and then that allows us to mate here. So great little pattern there. On to puzzle number 6. So we're halfway done. The knight has just captured here with a discovered attack on our queen. Now, I guess we could just grab that knight with our queen, save our queen that's unprotected and under attack, and grab their knight. But let's count up the material. And also, what is that knight doing? Well, once it moved, the queen's under attack. Also, the bishop's under attack. Material, we have 5 pawns. Our opponent has 6 pawns, 1 more than us. 3 minor pieces, 2 rooks, and a queen. So material's even, I believe. All right. We could just go up in material like that. But that wouldn't work because of the bishop pinning the queen to our king. Wow. Okay. Do we capture and then grab the knight? So maybe that would be better. So that might be the way to go. Also, we have a discovered attack, and that's what the theme is. So that's probably the move that we need to play, is to take the knight with the pawn, discovering a check on the king. What could they do? They could block with a pawn. The king could run. But we'd be up in material. We can grab the queen next, trade down more material. So that's what I'm going to do. And if they do this, we can just continue attacking here. Oh, they don't want that. Okay, what did I miss here? Do we go after the queen first, maybe? Huh. Or maybe this is another crazy situation where we just let our queen, be captured, and we set up a discovered attack with our knight. But I don't know if that's enough. So maybe they want us to do that. Okay, yeah, they want us to trade down material. Then I mean, I guess you could have still, I think you still could have captured here. If they captured, well, then we could take the queen. And if they recapture, then we could capture. I don't know. It seemed like it was still all right. But to keep the video moving along, let's go to puzzle number 7. And what do we have here? Bishop was under attack. It steps forward, kind of trapping our knight a little bit. Oh, also preventing a fork, a check, and then forking king and queen. So, material, we have 6 pawns. Our opponent has 5, so we're up by a pawn, and the rest of the material is even. So, discovered attack. Well, one possibility is to go here, attacking the bishop and having a discovered attack on this knight. But they could take our knight So maybe that's the way to go. Is there anything better? So, what is the bishop doing? Preventing a knight from going here. We're up in material, I believe. What was it? 1 pawn. Any checks? Well, if the knight could go here, of course the queen doesn't want to go there. It'll just be captured. Do we have any captures? Nothing we can capture immediately. Threats. I'm thinking we have to go here with a discovered attack on that knight. And we're attacking the bishop at the same time. So we'll go there. Okay. All right, now what do we want to do? Can we take with our queen? If the knight goes there, I think we do that. If the knight takes, we still have this fork. So we go there, we're up material, and their knight's under attack, so that knight has to run. All right, on to puzzle number 8. Rook has just captured a pawn, so now we have 4 pawns versus 4. Knight and 2 rooks on each side of the board. What can we do here? What's the threat? What did this knight capture achieve? Well, it does present the possibility of invading with check. So that's not looking too good. Both rooks could land on our second rank, causing all kinds of problems. Discovered attack. Well, look at the pieces lined up. Can we go here and just take that? Because if they capture, then we capture. So, anything better here? I mean, he doesn't have to take, though. Remember that. If you see a sacrifice, remember, they don't always have to just capture. If we go here and take, they don't have to capture. I mean, what if they counterattacked here, attacking our rook? Well, then I guess we could move. We could just move that. or what if they really ignore it and just go here, threatening to capture with check? That could be pretty bad as well. All right. Discovered attack. Oh, we would be attacking this then. So if we go here, now that rook's not protected. So I think that's the way to go. All right. So now we could do it again. We could just, well, no, we don't want to take that when we can go after the rook. So we just grab that. All right. I don't know if that was really a discovered, I mean, I guess it was a discovered attack, but the opponent helped us out on that one. That was kind of like a pinned piece that they ended up moving when they didn't have a choice, I guess. But no, they had a choice. They could have moved that rook somewhere. All right, here we go. On to puzzle 9. And remember to leave comments at any time. If there's anything you would like to see in the future, something you like or don't like, let me know. All right. Queen did what? Did it capture something there? What is it threatening? I guess now there's a threat of maybe taking that. You have 2 attackers and the knight's the only defender, so that's a possibility. Okay. Pieces. We have 5 pawns. Our opponent has 7, so they're up 2 pawns. We have knight, bishop, 2 rooks and a queen. They have knight, bishop, 2 rooks and a queen. So we're just down 2 pawns. Wow. So we need to do something in a hurry. Discovered attack. That usually means you have to move something out of the way. Like if we move this out of the way and we could check, we'd have a discovered attack on their queen. But, how do we set up a check? The king's on the dark squares. So let's look at checks first. And maybe there's something like this. If we could move that king over and then attack the queen. Oh, that could be a possibility. Wow, okay. What if we just go here, attacking the queen? Oh, he's under attack there. Oh, maybe that still works. Hold on. Let's look at that. We have this threat lined up. If we move, but they could take our queen, and then what do we do? Oh, we are protected by the knight. So maybe we have to check first there. Remember, when the king's in check, he can capture, block, or run. In this case, the queen cannot be captured on g5, so we'd have to block or run. And then we have this kind of threat here on the queen. And maybe we can go up there. So let's try that. Okay, we just keep checking. Now that they run, we go here, attacking the queen. And we're also threatening a back rank mate there. All right, on to puzzle number 10, the final puzzle for the day. The pawn is just pushed forward. We have an endgame puzzle. It looks like 4 pawns for us, only 2 for the opponent, so we are winning as far as material, but they have a dangerous passed pawn moving up the board, and that does not look good. If the pawn goes here, I don't know, they could have some kind of a threat where you try and put a rook here and here, and if it's taken, then the pawn would recapture and promote. Also, this rook is defending here because of the threat of a mate in 1 if that rook wasn't defending. Okay, discovered attack. How do we do it? What discovered attack do we have? Let's look at all the checks first. Well, we have this check. Where does the king go? If the king moves to the back rank, then we'll have a mate on the back rank. So the king would have to go forward. So check. The king has to go here. We go check maybe. Then what? Does that work? Let's really look at this, because if we go all in and take away our defender here, we could have some back rank threats happening to us. So check. We have to calculate this out, make sure it works. The king cannot move to the back rank, because then we would just go there. So check. He has to come forward here. If we move the pawn with the discovered check, then what? He has to go up here and defend. So, yeah, I think I would be a better chess player if I could calculate better and faster. This is probably my biggest weakness. So hopefully all these puzzle videos are helping me as well. We'll see. I think these puzzle videos and pattern recognition definitely helps beginners a lot more than more experienced players. But hopefully pattern recognition helps everybody at all levels. So you should probably always do some puzzles on a regular basis to improve your chess. So check. He has to go here. We go up, discovered check. The king would have to go to e2 to prevent that queen from promoting. And then we have to keep checking. So if he's here, if we push our pawn, he'll just capture. If we bring our rook over here and he takes, the only thing we can do is go here and check if we promote to a knight. But, oh man, it's hard to tell on this one. I have to try this again. Check. He has to go there. All right, if we push the pawn, he's going to move up to defend the promotion square. And then, all right, I'm pretty sure this is it. So I'm going to play this out. Do we have something better if we go there with check? Check. Now, where does the king go? Well, then he can just run forward. So this at least checks him again. And then now what? Do we go there? That's not enough, because then they can go there. We would have to block. That doesn't work. So if we check, so check, and they go here. See, then we're no longer protecting that. Wow. Man. I'm just having trouble seeing this. And this is my third video I recorded today, so I'm getting a little bit burnt out. Okay. If we go there, check. The only thing that can be played, well, no, then the king can just go here and block. Oh, but then we can move up there. So I don't know. Is this what they want? But then what if they just take the rook? So if we go here, he takes the rook. Then what do we do? Not seeing this. He takes the rook. If we promote to a queen, and then he has this attack. We could go there. And then he can just start chasing. Well, the rook is covering that. So anyway, I'm going to try this. That's what they want. If we promote to a queen with that, okay, now we can just block. Okay, I guess that works. All right, I hope you had a little better luck on that one than I did. So, feel free to leave comments at any time. Let me know what's on your mind. If you have a request for something you really want to see in future videos, let me know and I'll try and do that. Like and subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.